I guess that I've been living under a rock because the subject of today's video came as a huge surprise to me. Just last week, seemingly out of nowhere, the world's first flying car airport has officially opened its doors. Now, I didn't even know that flying cars existed yet outside of just some concepts and renderings that I've seen over the years, but it turns out that the technology is a lot farther along than I had realized because a company out of the UK has already designed and built what they are calling the world's first urban airport, built specifically for flying cars and flying drones. In today's episode, we are going to get into the details of this airport, why it was built, and when it will be fully functional. We'll talk about the flying car technology and whether or not this is something that we should expect to see at some point in the near future, considering we now have an airport to support them. And last, I'm going to pull up a promotional video that I found from the company who built this airport that shows us exactly how this airport was built and how it will function. We've covered some interesting real estate projects around here before, including some of the biggest buildings in the world and some of the most expensive real estate in the world. But a flying car airport has to be one of the most unique real estate projects that we've covered here on the channel, and I'm not going to lie, I'm pretty stoked about it. So what has been built here is absolutely the first of its kind. There's a company called Urban Airport, who is an aerospace manufacturing company who has constructed this flying car airport as a model to showcase what is to come in future locations, since their goal is to build more than 200 of these things all over the world, including places like LA, London, Australia, Germany, and Southeast Asia, just to name a few. The point of this airport is to be a hub where flying cars and flying taxis can take off and land on, and to be a place where cargo drones can take off from to deliver anything from Amazon packages to military supplies. The location of the first one is in the city of Coventry, which is in the UK, and you can see in this Google Earth view that we're zooming in on that right now, as of this imagery, it was just an old parking lot. But the parking lot has since been developed into a mini airport, literally right here in the middle of town, next to a visitor center, a healthcare facility, and a Baptist church. It seems like kind of a strange place to build an airport, but what's interesting is that even though this thing is going to be fully functional for the time being, it really was only constructed as a way for the company to showcase what they're capable of doing here, and after about a 6-month time, the thing is going to be totally deconstructed and relocated to another place. The building itself was able to fit in that parking lot because it's actually only 17,000 square feet in size, which actually makes it the world's smallest airport. And with them being able to build these airports so small, they're going to be able to fit them in unique places like at the top of apartment buildings or on boats. Don't let that small footprint fool you though, because even with it only being 17,000 square feet, this place has a cargo area, a hangar, security, plus a lounge with a cafe and some retail shops. The way that this airport will work is there's going to be a 56-foot circle platform in the center of the airport, which is where the vertical takeoffs will happen. And honestly, guys, the concept at first glance just seems like a fancy version of a helipad, since, let's face it, helicopters are vehicles that travel in a very similar way to these flying cars and delivery drones that they're talking about using for this new airport. From what I read, these flying cars are going to be more like flying taxis, since obviously they're not going to let anybody just show up and take one for a spin to go get their groceries. But the cargo flights supposedly are actually going to be unmanned drones, which is a little bit frightening, but the reality is drones are probably a lot safer than aircrafts flown by humans anyway. This airport just opened last week to the public, and there's actually a little bit of footage available online already that shows what this thing looks like from the street. It shows what it'll look like once you get inside to the lobby areas. Some of the airplanes are there on display for people to see, and then in the middle it showcases exactly where the planes will be taking off, and I'm not gonna lie, this thing looks pretty awesome. Those model planes that we were just looking at that they're showcasing inside the airport are actual flying cars that were built by the car maker Hyundai. Hyundai actually debuted this thing in CES in 2020 in Vegas when they said that they're pretty well positioned to start mass producing these air taxis as soon as it made sense, and this model was said to be able to travel up to 180 miles per hour. It has a max range of 60 miles, and it has a charge time of only about 5 minutes before it's ready to take its next flight. You probably caught on already that these air taxis are all electric, so a big part of the push to get these things out there is the fact that they are going to be zero emission vehicles. Plus, to top it off, they'll be landing at this airport, which will be powered by hydrogen fuel cells. This mini airport took a total of 15 months worth of planning, but believe it or not, it only took about 11 weeks to build. And I think that that makes for one of the best parts of this business plan, and that is that if this concept does take off and this company ends up being successful and needing to scale, then they should technically have no problem adding additional locations at a pretty fast pace. Speaking of the company, the group behind this project is called Urban Airport Limited, who, according to their website, is a company who designs, develops, manufactures, sells, and operates ground, air, and digital infrastructure for new forms of sustainable urban air transport, such as air taxis and autonomous delivery drones. That's a mouthful. The company says that their mission is to remove the largest single constraint to air mobility, which is ground infrastructure. Now, this is something that I hadn't put a ton of thought into prior to making this video, but these guys are kind of right. I mean, just in the US alone, there are around 4 million miles of public roads with 8.3 million lane miles. And using public roads like this not only restricts you on how fast you can get from point A to point B, but the roads also require a never-ending stream of maintenance that costs taxpayers money and can't be good for the environment long term. I've got to show you guys some highlights from a promotional video that this company made about the flying airport because it really does help to put this whole story together. I'm just gonna share a few short clips here with you guys today. If you want to see the full video, I'll link to it down in the description. Okay, so I'm not sure why they're showing it being built in the middle of a forest instead of the parking lot that it was actually built in, but you can see there's really not much to it. They just build this base foundation, a few walls to hold the center section up, and then the whole top piece just kind of sits on top of it. So that was cool. So they kind of just showed us how the lobby area, the security area, the lounge, and the retail areas all fit within this cylinder. See, and now we're talking. So we've got the cars showing up, there's that taxi area in the front, and then the VIP area in front of that. I don't know why that second area is VIP, the parking's basically the same, but they've got all these little drones that are flying off the top of this thing going out to deliver packages. It's pretty cool and futuristic looking. And at the end, they're showing us that the footprint really is so small that you could fit this thing on the top of a skyscraper or out on a boat, just like a helipad. At this site in the UK, I read that there's actually demonstration flights that are happening right now with both police vehicles and those delivery drones. So if any of you guys live in the area, please go check it out, take some video footage and send it over to me. I would love to see this thing in action. The founder of Urban Airport, Ricky Sandhu, described the opening as a monumentous moment, and he said that it was the start of a new age of transport, an age of zero emission, congestion-free travel between and within cities that will make people healthier, happier, and more connected. Time will tell if we are right around the corner from these air taxis becoming a reality, or if this is just some pipe dream that can't fit into our current society. But one report said that this market will be growing to $12.4 billion worldwide by 2027, and Urban Airport themselves are even more ambitious, expecting the market to reach $1 trillion by 2042. I don't know if I would be a customer of these air taxis right off the bat. I think I'll let them work the bugs out on those first. But I will say that I would love to see my Amazon packages start showing up by delivery drones. So for that reason, I support this project. If you enjoyed the episode today, guys, hit that thumbs up button down below before you go if you could, or even better, leave a comment. That really helps to support my channel. But that's all I've got for you guys this time. Thank you so much for watching, and until next time, see ya.